Hey, орой минь чамд орой минь хүргэе. За тэгэхээр өнөөдөр номныхоо unplugged альбом номныхоо дараагийн сэдвүүл орцох болно. Энэ бол одоо бүгдээр харцгаая. За, The Single Mothers. За, 5 дугаар бүлэг дээр The Single Mothers гэдгийг хэдүүлээ уншицгаах болно. За, шууд орцгоё. Single mothers. In the red flag chapter I covered several warning signs that men should be aware of with women. However, this book wouldn't offer a useful roadmap for men unless I cover why. I'll explain why a relationship with a single mother often invites both drama and unnecessary complexity into a man's life. I've had well over 1,000 coaching calls with men, and their one common denominator that keeps repeatedly showing up is that men dramatically complicate their lives by allowing single mothers into them. Now, not every single mother is bad news, but the reality is they bring a lot of problems into men's lives that women without children simply don't. When I got divorced at 39 after 7 years with the same woman, I had shared custody of my 4-year-old, and I did what most men typically did in that scenario. I looked around and found that most women in my age range had children too. Most had most had several kids, and sometimes each kid came from a different father. I got involved with a single mother almost immediately. She was also recently divorced, pretty, fit, knew how to cook. She also had the typical post-divorce priest argumentation, and she had 2 kids in tow that were 7 and 10 when I met them. If you want to learn more about personal experience, search YouTube for entrepreneurs in cars and why men shouldn't date single mothers. Some men would argue with experience that there are dozens of problems that come from relationships with single mothers. However, I'm only going to focus on the five I've seen most often. They are in no particular order. Cuckoldry, cuckoldry, responsibility without authority, the victim mindset, financial issues, and prioritization. 자, 인투고관. 자, translate. Authority гэж бас өгсөж байна. Хөхөө, cuckoldry. Хөхөө. За, би баг нэг санаж магадгүй. Prioritization. Authority. Representation. Authority. Prioritization. Prioritization. Okay. Cuckoldry. When you take on financial, parental, and emotional burden of raising another man's children, you are, by definition, a cuckold. Some men would agree with that if she is a widow or he was a deadbeat father that disappeared from their lives, there is an exception. Well, there isn't. Okay. Regardless of how you want to rationalize it in your head, you are a cock. Society today encourages and celebrates cuckoldry. You will often see articles titled "The Case of Being a Cuck." The truth is, it's nothing to celebrate. They don't take on your last name, and they definitely don't process your genetic legacy to pass down. These 2 points have historically been the biggest selling point to men for fatherhood. For most men, this is not to impose a firm, fast rule on single mothers, but many men still ignore the obvious problem, and it's because they lack better options because of their own limited value. To add insult to injury, women overwhelmingly get awarded the primary parenting of their children the vast majority of the time, while men don't. So if you are a divorced father, then you might end up spending more time parenting the children of another man than your own. Responsibility without authority. Getting involved with single mother often means that you will find yourself in a position where you have some parental responsibilities as biological father, but with none of the authority of parent. Shortly after she's introduced you to her kids, she'll expect you to step up and take on parenting duties. It often starts with going out for dinner and she brings her kids along for the first time. This is when you'll be expected to demonstrate that you can provide for Billy and Bobby too. You'll be on the hook with parental responsibility for birthdays, travel, holidays, ski trips, the beach, the list goes on. You'll feel the shoes of Daddy, and your financial resources will certainly be warmly welcome, but at some point during the grievance, you'll also usually hear them say something like, "You're not my father, you can't tell me what to do." They will be our kids when she needs you. However, they will be her kids when you need to discipline them or impose healthy boundaries. Strangely, strangely, if you are a single father, you will learn that when your kids need something, your children are never ours, but selectively yours. Yet most men discover that women want authority over kids just without the responsibility that goes along with it. Most men usually hear her say something that reflects their mindset mindset of "not my monkey, not my circus." There's a reason why some kids that grew up with a stepmother call her stepmother monster. If the fact that you are being cocked as a man is enough to make you question your choice to get involved with a single mother, then expect to have responsibility but with zero authority, whereas she'll often take on little responsibility herself while still seeking authority. The victim mindset. Women are naturally solipsistic. After all, it's hardwired into them. However, single mothers run a special gauntlet of mental gymnastics that they are rationalize as normal, but ultimately it boils down to them adopting a victim mindset. They often brag on social media about how they are strong, independent, and don't need men, while simulation, simultaneously, while andiamo ortografia. За, нүгийг харцгаа ямар ортографи. Нэгэн зэрэг simultaneously, simultaneously, while simultaneously, while simultaneously turning to the government for handouts, and or their children's father for financial support. I dated a lot of single mothers that would complain about the father of their children and often heard her use disparaging terms like loser, dumb, deadbeat, beta, or boring. If I would ask them why they married him or had kids with him, their face would turn to stone as if to say, how dare you hold me accountable for my own choices? Naturally, she didn't own her choices. She was always pointing and sputtering at her ex-husband, her boss, her father, or the president. With a rare exception, she rarely looked in the mirror to take ownership for her results in life. While I only ever dated traditionally feminine-looking women, I never met a single mother that wasn't a feminist. To identify as a feminist, you must have an oppressor, and when it comes to feminist logic, every woman is oppressed by default and is therefore a victim. The victim mindset requires her to be unhappy, unlucky, and oppressed. When I started dating these women, I found out firsthand how hard done by it she claimed she and her children were, and it was always someone else's fault. Her children also adopt this mindset because kids naturally learn their behaviors from their parents. So if something doesn't go up their way, they will emotionally manipulate their mother and have her side with their petty behavior even when you are right, and they require boundary enforcement and discipline. Most men love playing the role of Captain Saberhaw, and since single moms love being a damsel in distress, men are all too happy to step up and swoop in to protect her honor. Her honor. Financial issues. When it comes to money, women choose jobs that pay less than men was majority of time. Even into there are more women in the workforce than ever before men earn the vast majority of the wealth by choosing higher paying professions. Most men score the single mother gravi- gravitate to professions like a nursing, teacher, dental hygienist, daycare work, and hairdressing. Few women take on jobs they pay over six figures, so when I was dating them, I found it difficult to meet single mothers that earned that as much as I did. For the most part, they aren't driving expensive cars or living in mortgage-free homes. Most single mothers have debt and often also have nothing to their name except the children tow with another man's last name attached to them. You will be called upon to her pay for her life and that of her children. I've had several coaching calls with men where they paid off her debts, bought her kids cars, and paid up for their college tuition. It's common for uninitiated men to make themselves less so she and her children can become more. Reprioritization. In general, men are all too happy to abandon their purpose in life to fulfill their women's. Unfortunately, when you get involved with a single mother, you will never be her priority. Most men pin their place in picking order behind her needs, her kids' needs, her work issues, her wine drinking nights with her sisters, her Saturday nights out, and then her cat. If you get involved with a single mother, you'll never be anywhere near the top of her priorities. You'll often be expected to make your hobbies and passions less of priority so she can focus on hers. There's an old soundbite that calls women dream killers. The truth is most men that get into a relationship with a single mothers will be required to shift their priorities around for her and her kids. The big risk. There's an often overlooked risk with dating a single mother, especially if you have a young daughter and she has one or more boys. The biggest risk to young girls is being physically violated through non-blood related relatives in the household. This is far more common with girls, but it does happen to boys too. There is a wiring in our DNA is a function of survival and for genetic diversity to avoid sexual activity with blood-related relatives. It's why brothers and sisters are sexually repelled by one another. Repelled. What is the meaning of that one? There are many women that have been raped or sexually assaulted by stepbrothers or stepfathers during their childhood. This is the risk that you need to be aware of if you are a divorced dad, more so if your ex-wife isn't particularly good at picking the men if she invites characters into your daughter's life with stepfathers, brothers in tow, then you must find a way to have the conversation with your children's mother. When dating a single mother might make sense. I've often been challenged to present a situation where dating a single mother might make sense. I can only think of one. You have already got a kid, so you secured your family name and DNA. Her child is about same age and sex as yours, so they can interact and relate with one another. And most importantly, there is no risk of her being violated. Your premise also naturally impairs 100% authority in relationships. She isn't a feminist and takes ownership for her life and holds her kid accountable to my standards. She is at the minimum financially equal to me. She is complement to my life and certainly not the focus. Should also have to be attractive. He have a genuine desire for me and also get on well with my child. To be perfectly honest, I think you have much better luck pinning lepra leprechaun leprechaun with a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow than pinning someone who can comfortably meet every condition. Leprechaun, leprechaun. Okay, translate there. Alok, the cold hard truths never forget. You don't wanna be cocky on my journey or kids like they're your own, but ultimately they will never ever be yours, and your bloodline will not continue if you don't already have kids. They'll never ever ever respect you in the way that you want them to, even if you adopt them, because deep down in their core they'll also know that you are their father. While it's a culture that women kids will always be higher priority than you, with single mothers you will be further down your list of priorities until she wants something from you that is the victim mindset along with unhealthy doses of shaming and guilt tripping is the Pacta method of operation for single mothers. If it's all the biopad's fault and she can't own up to anything that she did it to screw up with the relationship, then you can bet your ass she'd say the same about you to the next guy. The vast majority of sexual relations are perpetrated by close family members. If you have a young daughter, it's incumbent on you to make sure she stays as safe as possible and make sure she feels comfortable not to tell you anything. So lay groundwork in making her feel comfortable not to confide in you easier. 오케이. 자, 오늘 좋은 시간 баярлалаа. Тэгээ одоо ингээд дуусгах хэрэгтэй боллоо. Тэгэхээр дараагийн бүлэг дээр та ном үргэлжлүүлээд уншина. Higher slowly but fire quickly. Гэнэ зааж олохтой холбоотой юм болов уу? Тийм ээ. Энэ бол ажилтай холбоотой. Энэ яаж үүсдэг талаар ярих юм байна. Минутын сэдв ерөөдөө red flag single mode-руу талаар илүү дэлгэрэнгүй ямар байдаг. Тэгээд та чамд юу тохиолдох талаар ингээд ярилаа. Татлаа. Тус тэмүүлсэн болсон байхаа бодчихдээ. Өршлөгөөд ярил л та. Ярихгүй. Та баяртай.